Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into Robert Kiyosaki's Who Took My Money, and we're going to tackle a pretty controversial idea that the most common investment advice you've probably ever heard, well, it might actually be designed to make other people rich, not you.
This is probably the number one question that gets people started on their financial journey. You've worked hard, you've saved up some cash, and you want to do the right thing with it. But as we're about to find out, the most popular answer to this question, it might just be the most dangerous one.
The stakes for getting this wrong are just staggering. Kiyosaki points out that between just 2000 and 2003, average everyday investors lost somewhere between $7 to $9 trillion. And what were they doing? Well, for the most part, they were just following that same old conventional financial advice. So, how can the supposedly safe path be so incredibly destructive? To really get to the heart of the problem, we need to go back in time, back to the author's own origin story as an investor. The year is 1965, and an 18-year-old Robert Kiyosaki is a cadet at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. So picture this, a financial planner who happens to be an alumnus of the academy, comes to campus and sits down with this young cadet. Kiyosaki doesn't know much at all, so he does what he's told is the smart thing. He agrees to put $15 a month into a mutual fund. This is his very first investment. And this was the advice he was given. Does that sound familiar? It's basically the mantra of modern personal finance, right? Buy and hold, invest for the long term, and don't forget to diversify. It sounds so safe, so responsible. But what if it's not actually advice? Okay, so when Kiyosaki gets home on break, he's excited. He proudly tells his mentor, the man he famously calls Rich Dad, all about his brand new mutual fund. He was probably expecting a pat on the back, a good job, but what he got was a serious warning. Rich Dad's reaction was immediate and blunt. He told him that this stuff, this whole buy, hold, diversify, long-term spiel, it wasn't education. It was a sales pitch. It was designed to get you to hand over your money, not to actually make you a smarter, more competent investor. And this really gets to the core of the whole argument. Rich Dad asked him a simple but profound question. What are you learning about money by just mailing a check to someone every month? And the answer, of course, is absolutely nothing. See, this passive, hands-off approach keeps you financially in the dark, totally dependent. And that's perfect for the people selling you the financial products. To make this crystal clear, Rich Dad used this simple, really powerful analogy from where they lived on the Big Island of Hawaii, which was famous for its huge cattle ranches. This little story reveals two totally different ways of thinking. You've got the cattle rancher. He raises cattle for one reason, to one day sell them for slaughter. It's a one-time payout. This is what we call investing for capital gains. Then you have the dairy farmer. He raises cows to milk them every single day. That's an ongoing stream of income. This is investing for cash flow. And here is the trap. Most of us are taught to invest like cattle ranchers. We buy a stock, a mutual fund, maybe a house, and we just hope and pray the price goes up so we can sell it to somebody else, a greater fool, down the road. This whole capital gain strategy, this is what fuels the insane market manias, the bubbles, and, of course, the devastating crashes. Okay, so if the pros don't just diversify like they tell us to, what are they doing instead? Well, they're not just scattering their money around, they're integrating their assets to create something way more powerful. They're focused on synergy, and the definition is pretty simple. It's when you combine things, and the result is way bigger than what you'd get if you just added them up separately. It's not 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 4, or 8, or even 16. It's about multiplication, not just addition. So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, a sophisticated investor doesn't just pick one of these things. They build a financial engine. For example, they might own a business that buys an office building. That's business and real estate working together. Then the rent from that building provides cash flow to buy stocks. There's your paper assets. And they probably use the bank's money to buy the building in the first place. That's leverage. And then the really smart part is they structure it all under a corporation with great tax planning. That's corporate and tax law to protect all their gains. See how each piece makes the others stronger? That is what Kiyosaki says real financial education is all about. So why is this distinction between these two approaches so incredibly important? Because whether you know it or not, you are playing what Kiyosaki calls the money game. And if you don't know the rules, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose. He breaks a typical 40-year working life down into 4 10-year quarters, kind of like a football game. You start playing around age 25, the final whistle blows at 65, and the goal is simple: have enough assets generating enough cash flow so you can live comfortably for the rest of your life. So this brings up a really tough question for all of us. Are you actively playing to win this game, or are you just handing the ball, your money, over to a financial planner and just kind of hoping they score for you? Following that old buy and hold strategy is like playing a really slow defensive game that for a lot of people forces them into overtime, working well past 65, not because they want to, but because they have to. At the end of the day, Kiyosaki argues that the real financial risk isn't a market crash. No, the real risk is being an uneducated player in the game. It's mistaking a sales pitch for good advice. It's being too busy to actually learn. It's letting someone else call the shots with your financial future. The biggest risk isn't losing money. It's living in constant fear of losing money, which makes you miss out on the excitement and the incredible opportunity of actually winning the game. And that brings us right back to the provocative question at the heart of this whole book. If you get to the end of your game and you look around and wonder where all your hard-earned money went, the answer probably isn't the market or the economy or bad luck. The answer is that if you don't take control of your own financial education, there will always be someone else more than happy to take control of your money for you.